to go. Here we are.
All right. The tweet has gone out.
Oh, because sometimes you forget, I assume.
What was that?
Because sometimes you forget or whatever.
Yeah, well, I was getting the stream ready so that it would have all the bells and whistles, and yeah. Anyway.
We don't need bells and whistles.
Well, we don't have any, but, you know, supposedly YouTube does. Let's see. So, welcome to the DG Podcast. This is episode 142, part B. So, you can look forward to chaos as I'm in charge. And Rhett's going to be playing Battle Block Theater, a thoroughly enjoyable game.
It's pretty great. I was looking at the games, like, what should I play? I should be, you know, what should I do or whatever. And then I realized I already have Battle Block Theater downloaded. I should just play that.
It's one of those games that I can totally play it with my kids. My kids and I have played this together, and it's a lot of fun. At times it gets somewhat difficult trying to play and trying to get from point A to point
B. Well, especially
B,
when you're coordinating some kids.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and the thing is that they made it so that not only do you have a story that you can play single player from beginning to end, but each of those levels has a multiplayer option, and it changes the dynamic of that level. When you play it single player, you can get through all the places, you can solve all the puzzles single player. But if you're playing it multiplayer, you actually have to work together. You can't just go through the game without helping each other. At the same time, you can totally throw each other into, like, you know, fans and water and whatever else it happens to be. And
I played this with Lindsay. I bought it for one time so that we could play it together. I played it with Lindsay. The multiplayer is hectic, though.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. There are actually some multiplayer, strictly multiplayer levels that you can play that are like challenge levels and stuff.
And they're specifically built for multiple people.
Where you have to, like, make baskets and, like you're playing basketball. You have to throw a ball through a hoop kind of thing. It gets pretty bad. Anyway, anything new going on for you?
I don't know if this got brought up or if I beat it after the last podcast, but I maxed out Dragon Age Inquisition's trophies. That is to say, without the DLC trophies.
Right. I remember you were saying that you were anticipating finishing it up soon, but you hadn't, as far as I know, done that.
Yeah, I'm all done now.
Because you said that you had finished the dragon.
Well, there was a hurdle I had to get through, and it was this dragon I could not beat. I swear that fight took like 20 minutes itself. It was ridiculous.
Nice. That's a tough one. The dragons are tough on purpose in Dragon Age. I remember the first Dragon Age taking on the dragon the first time, and it took me a long time to beat that sucker down.
It's been a while, so if it looks like I'm not very good at this, I don't remember all of the buttons.
You should get
a perfect
up
score
on it pretty.
Right out the, yeah.
No. You should be able to refresh yourself pretty soon. The buttons are pretty straightforward, you know.
How do I get over there? I mean, I enjoy Dragon Age. I enjoy RPGs and leveling and junk. But I mean, it wasn't perfect at annoying story aspects. But what can you do?
Anything else?
I've still been watching off and on Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Still pretty good show. It's just not as good as I remember it was, which is disappointing because everybody thinks it's the greatest thing ever.
I remember you saying that that's one of your favorites anyway.
It's a good one, I prefer. I just died. I prefer. Come back here. Cowboy Bebop over. No, I've been watching Samurai Champloo.
Oh,
yeah,
that
Cowboy
okay.
Bebop is actually my favorite.
Right, that's what. Yeah. Okay.
He eats me and poops me out.
Yeah, you have to get him to where he's supposed to go though first.
I don't know what he's supposed to do at all. It's been a while. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this.
I think you're supposed to.
Don't worry about the game. I might have to pick a different level.
Anyway, let's see. What was the...
I've been playing Arkham Knight. Just to refamiliarize myself with. Well, not. I have the pack. The season pass.
Right.
So I can play it. Or so I had a bunch of DLC waiting for me since I moved on from the game to other things, and then finally gone back to play it. So I was all psyched. There's a bunch of DLC, and I've been slowly hashing out the DLC achievements or trophies on the PS4, a little bit at a time, and having fun with that. And then I started running into the challenge missions. Now, the challenge missions are ridiculous.
Right.
They're impossibly hard.
Yeah.
I've beaten them all. The only things I haven't beaten are the community challenge missions. And whoever in the community decided that these were good ideas for the challenge missions are morons. Because I've played consistently over and over again. I have maxed out. I'm actually reasonably good at the challenge missions. I've played every game multiple times. Arkham Knight's the only one I've made the full effort to mostly max out the challenge missions.
Okay.
And in the challenge missions on this one is asking me to beat a certain level with 3 different characters without actually ever being hit once.
Holy cow.
And not only is the level ridiculously difficult, but it's just too hard.
Right.
I just can't. I'm dying a lot. It's just so. And I put in 2 or 3 hours, I think, once a day, just trying that stupid level over and over again. And I just can't get it. And it's frustrating because after I beat 3 more, because I've beaten, of the 6, I've beaten 3 of the community challenge missions. And there are 3 more to go. After I've beaten those, there are actually some actual story missions that they involved in the main map with some added villains and that sort of thing. So I'm excited to see that play out, and I'm excited to see that stuff, but I just can't allow myself to move on yet until I finish the finish the stuff in order for some reason. I have to. I think I know for a fact that if I don't do it now, I'll never go back.
You'll never go back to it?
Yeah, so I can't do the fancy story mission stuff until I've finished the challenge mission stuff, and it's pissing me off.
Well, that is a really difficult challenge at that point, where you're just trying to figure out the how to make it through the entire level without getting hit once.
I've gotten through 3 of the fights, and I can't beat the 4th one. I think I need a running start with this. I just keep kicking. It's fun, but it's pissing me off. I've been playing Banner Saga on occasion. I enjoy the game. I need to get a guide to figure out where I am in Final Fantasy VI. I've been reading that Brandon Sanderson book. What is it? The second one to the Stormlight series or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head either.
Way to grab this thing.
But I do know that it's out there.
Yeah, I've started into it. Because Gosh, it feels like there's more that I've been doing that I am neglecting. I just Batman, and Batman's pissing me off. I'm halfway through that newer Batman animated movie. It's called Blood something. It's alright.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it so far. There's a lot of emphasis on Batwoman in it. Batwoman's not great. She uses guns and...
She kills people.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. In any normal situation, you would imply that self-defense, somebody's trying to murder you. If you accidentally end up killing somebody in self-defense, that's not a horrible thing because you were trying to stop them. The problem is, in Batman's eyes, apparently everybody's supposed to be as perfect as he is. They're not allowed to kill, and it fits his character. Like, when you have characters that swear off violence, like Superman, it's weird when they kill people. Like, they're not supposed to. Even though I disagree with the premise, I'm not saying you should kill people, because Superman, if anybody, has the capabilities of not needing to kill anyone. But it's understandable in certain circumstances.
I remember watching Batman the Animated Series years ago, and there was an episode where this guy created a supercomputer called ENIAC, if I remember right, and this supercomputer decided to start replacing people with clones. Not clones, I should say, with what's the word for it? Android duplicates of themselves, right? So he starts replacing people. Well, the thing is that Bruce Wayne, Batman, figures it out at the last minute and is able to foil ENIAC's plan. The thing is that he doesn't completely foil the plan because ENIAC had created a robot version of Batman. And Bruce Wayne couldn't figure out what happened, because like 1 minute he's sitting in this box and people are thinking, well, what's Batman doing inside this box? And then he's suddenly he's suddenly active and he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he ends up fighting against the real Bruce Wayne because he tries to take over the Bat computer. Because the Bat computer is the most sophisticated computer that is, and so ENIAC tries to take it over with the help of the robotic Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne basically in this fight between himself and the android, he fakes his own death, and that was how he beat the robotic version of himself. It gave him it was such a traumatic experience for him that he basically self-destructed, and that made it so that ENIAC, the computer, was also destroyed.
That's weird.
Yeah.
In the movie I have, it plays off that I'm watching. It actually plays similar off of the moment when Superman dies and Grayson goes to take over.
Okay. Oh, you mean Batman?
Where Batman dies. Remember, he gets shot by that gun and goes back in time and doesn't really die because he's Batman. Right. Nah. Boomerang, failed me. And so Superman gets captured and Grayson takes over and he takes on Damian as
his Robin.
As his Robin, as he's wont to do.
Right.
It's interesting to see that play out. I haven't finished it yet. I was doing it on the treadmill, and then I had to stop because we had to go somewhere, and inevitably that's how things play out.
I love your character there, sitting there, acting like he's disappointed that you're not doing anything.
He's disappointed in me. I'm disappointed in him. We're all disappointed in one another.
So I'm trying to think what I've been doing recently. More Doctor Who. It gets... Boo. The thing is that I've decided that Doctor Who really isn't a time-traveling sci-fi show. It's magic.
It's magic. Yep. Like, people think it's science fiction, but it's super not science fiction.
I mean, originally it was science fiction, It really
Dang it.
was. I mean, the
That's like
the original
Star Trek
premise.
being science fiction. It's super not. We all think it is, but it's not.
Well, the original premise for the show, when they first created it originally, they ended up being told that
this is where I spend the rest of my life, dying in this little pit or whatever.
they basically got told they couldn't really do it unless there was an educational aspect to the show. So basically, what they did was they time traveled around to different historical periods, and they played with history. And so there was kind of that educational historical aspect to it. And then what happens is, like, they decided they were able to get away from that and bring it into the entertainment aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they did fairly well trying to stick with science and stuff, but at the same time, it's like the new Doctor Who. It's like practically anything that is going on with him, it's just like he basically has to reboot the universe in one episode. He gets
because that's a thing.
Yeah,
it just hit the reset switch.
Well, what happens is there's a trap.
Don't justify it. This is stupid.
No, I'm not trying to justify it. I'm trying to explain what happened. Basically, there's a trap, and it's set for him specifically. And he gets out of it, but the only way he can fix everything is to use his ship to restart the universe. Because time is totally screwed up.
Because you can do that.
Yeah. And so basically what it does is it erases him from history. He gets erased, and what he does is he goes through his timeline, and as he's going through his timeline, he got eaten. He goes back to one point in his timeline and tells his story to a girl. And what supposedly happens is if he can get her to remember him, it somehow magically makes it so that he's alive with no actual repercussions. It's just he's now back in the universe now. And I'm like, wait, what? How is that at all possible?
None of it makes any sense, Jason.
So they really...
Doctor Who.
Yeah. Anyway. I've also been trying to finish the Lego Marvel game.
Uh-huh.
I've had it forever. I've not gotten quite to 100% on it yet.
I wanted to get the Hobbit one that they got, or the Lord of the Rings ones and stuff. I just haven't. Those look like they'd be fun.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings was okay. There was a unfortunately with go underneath. Yeah, there you go. Now jump up.
Yeah, they're blocked.
No, there's you can't get the buttons from. I think those are. Oh, darn. Anyway,
I gave up. I moved on.
Been reading a lot of just trivia books and stuff. Actually, I found a kind of neat mobile app recently. What it is it allows me to practice Italian. So it's actually educational rather than just
I need to practice
fun.
Portuguese. The problem is I have enough foundation in the language that I know I can speak it relatively well. And with most with a degree of proficiency, the problem is I don't like it. And there's nobody to talk to. Like, there's no valid, like, carryover. Like, to some degree, it's neat knowing Italian.
Yeah.
There's no one I can really talk to when it comes to Portuguese.
Right. And right now there's really...
been to Brazil.
right now there's really no one I can speak Italian with. It's kind of funny because like my daughter's elementary school, they have language classes for an elementary school, which is kind of weird to me.
I don't
but
think
the
it's
same
going to mean anything. There's this big emphasis on learning more languages as of late,
Yeah.
especially with not just elementary schools, but like experimental schools and stuff. There's a big deal of learning more languages. I don't think it's going to help any of them.
Well, the thing
I
is
think they're all
that
going to forget and be as stupid as can be.
the thing that kind of to me doesn't make sense about this is that the language that they've chosen for their study is Portuguese.
Spanish makes more sense than Portuguese.
I know, Spanish, Chinese.
Chinese makes some sense. Spanish, at least within this country.
Yeah.
And I don't like Spanish, but I understand that it makes more sense than Portuguese does.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting there going, really? You chose
Japanese
Portuguese?
makes more sense than Portuguese does. How many people are actually going to Brazil?
I know. So, yeah,
Or
my daughter
Portugal?
has the opportunity to...
I don't know what this dude does, honestly. He's a Japanese bird thing.
but we're like... Maybe if it was a more useful language, but whatever. So
if she wants somebody to talk to, I could talk to her, but...
Yeah, well, she's not in that class, so...
Oh. Well, I have no way to help your children.
Yeah, anyway. But, yeah, So, like I said, it was just funny that Portuguese was the language that they chose as the one that they were going to use for this language arts class kind of thing. I shouldn't say language arts. It's actually like that's what they study their classes in. So it's like they take science or something in Portuguese, but whatever. So
most of the stuff, that's like learning engineering in Japanese.
I know.
If you know anything about, especially when it comes to aeronautical engineering, all of the engineering books are in English.
Right.
In Japan. I knew a guy who was Japanese who came to America to learn engineering when it came to airplanes.
Right.
And he got the book, or he learned it here, because he knew that everything's in English anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right. So
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, well, whatever.
And that's exactly what I was thinking myself. I'm sitting there going, wait, why are we doing this? So yeah, it might. If it was another language, I might have been, especially like Spanish or Japanese or something like that. I might have encouraged my daughter to take it. But anyway,
Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, anything.
Yeah,
anything.
There's two places, Portugal and Brazil.
Yeah, pretty much.
Italians even less so.
On the way
One
home,
place, Italy.
Because I was over at Lindsay's place.
Uh-huh.
Because she had to give me the fancy food for my cat.
Uh-huh.
Because my cat's super old and dying of a thyroid problem.
Right.
So I got fancy food that's supposed to help him out and make him feel a lot better.
Right.
And on the way home, I went to 7-Eleven.
He doesn't like it?
No, we haven't given him any yet.
Oh.
On the way home, I went to 7-Eleven and got some smoked almonds.
Oh, there's smoked almonds are awesome.
They're freaking awesome.
I
had
know
no
they
idea
are.
these were as good as they ended up being. I was like, where were these my whole life?
I know. They're so freaking good.
And I'm not usually a big almond guy. They're sort of like the mediocre of the almonds.
I know, it's just like,
nuts.
if I have some almonds, yeah, I'll have some, but it's like...
Smoked almonds kick butt.
I'd rather have other nuts, but then there's, yeah, like you said, smoked almonds, and you're just like, holy cow, these are so awesome.
Where were you my whole life? Please, people who make smoked almonds, advertise with us.
We will eat almonds on the show.
I am currently eating almonds on the show.
Anyway, we have some interesting video games that are coming out this week. Well, I say interesting, but maybe that's just, fluff.
Can I bring up a subject?
Yeah, go ahead.
Controversial and stupid.
Okay.
So, Mark Hamill
Oh, the gay thing.
Yeah, has been getting a lot of attention from the homosexual community, who've been trying to get him, a bunch of people and writing in and stuff, pressuring him, being like, "Oh, could you make Mark Hamill gay, or could you make Luke Skywalker gay? I've been having trouble coming out. It would mean a lot to the gay community. Could you make Luke Skywalker gay?" And his response was, "If it helps you with being who you are and accepting who you are as a person," this is, I'm paraphrasing, this isn't word for word.
Right.
Then to you, if you want to say Luke Skywalker's gay, then he's gay. And then the entire gay community and the internet came out and said, apparently Luke Skywalker's gay. Everybody, this is a new thing. Everybody's, you know. Well, how did Salon phrase it? Suddenly a bunch of fan fiction people
makes sense now.
Are super excited or whatever. Because now, like, all their stupid premises make sense to them. First of all, he was saying it in a way to, if he's gay to you, then he's gay. Not Luke Skywalker is actually gay.
Right.
Before they destroyed the extended universe was considered canon, and he not only was married,
totally had a wife,
but had a wife and children. Luke Skywalker's not gay.
No.
He's not gay, and he probably isn't gay in the new universe. Now, if it helps, I'm going to take the same premise that Mark Hamill did. If it helps you with being who you are and you want to consider him gay, then whatever. But he's not gay. He's not actually gay.
Right.
And turning it into this thing that it's not is ridiculous. You just want it to be so. It's not because it is. You just want it to be so.
Right. Yeah, I heard that, and I'm like, this is so stupid. What is wrong with you people?
Why is this a thing? But they made such a big deal about it, and nobody read it or understood it accurately. They were just like, "Oh, Luke Skywalker gay." It's like, no, he's not. He's actually not gay. If they did that to the character, suddenly just changed the dynamics of the character on purpose, and just eliminated a lot of who he was originally and stuff, I'd probably walk away from Star Wars forever.
Yeah.
I think that would just piss me off. I was like, why are you doing this? And it goes with the same thing with the Ghostbusters trailer. Look, if you write a good character who is a well thought out character and is dynamic and has a lot of aspects to who he or she is, and the character ends up becoming gay because of one reason or another, then it sort of naturally progresses into how they're supposed to be, and that's sort of the element of the character. But I would say 90% of the time, people start out, I want this character to be gay, and then try and flesh out the character. And you can tell they become superficial and dull and stupid. And it's not a natural fit for writing a character.
Right.
It becomes lame and forced. Fans can tell. Fans can tell when you're forcing it. And that's like it. If they started out with the new Ghostbusters movie and they show the trailer and it was just, oh, these are the people, etc., etc., I would have really been bothered by the fact they were all women. I'd have been bothered by the fact that the show is dull.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been bothered by the fact they're all women. But they came out like right from the get-go saying that we're going to make it all women. It's going to be this thing. Because they were trying to bank in on that sort of politically correct crowd. And it's stupid. Right. Because we can all tell what you're trying to do. Not only does it not feel natural, but it ends up being pandering and garbage.
Yep.
We don't really care if they're women. We really care if you're trying to force and cram women down our throat because you're trying to be inclusive or politically correct or progressive or whatever you want to be. And then the progressive community destroyed you and are pissed off because the black lady in it is too cliched as a black woman. Like, what do you... If you start out making this a very political thing, it's always going to be a political thing. It'll never go away. You can't ring that drum and then expect everybody to like fall in behind it and not start to see it as a purely political thing. You know
it's
what I
something
mean?
we've said repeatedly.
Well,
Where
we talked about this last time, but it still pisses me off.
Well, no. What I mean is getting back to the, pandering thing, and you're trying to pander to the public. You're not actually trying to create a good story or trying to create
Something that's interesting or fun or naturally that way.
No, you're just trying to get everybody to side with you and say, oh look, obviously they're artistic because they, and it's just garbage.
It is garbage. And I've seen people defend it to the death because they like the idea of it being a all-woman cast, not because it's good or not because it looks good. It's just they like the idea of it being an all-female cast. And I was like, I want it to be good. I don't care if it's an all-female cast. As far as I can tell, it looks terrible. And it makes me sad because I love Ghostbusters.
Right. It's that whole, we don't really care about your political views. We want you to give us a good movie. Can't you understand that?
No, they can't, because they see everything through the veil of politics. That's how everything is run. That's how everything will be run. Everything has got to be seen through politics. What was it Anita Sarkeesian said? In a speech to a college, she said, and I quote, "Everything is sexist, everything is racist, and you have to point it all out." This is what she said. And then she claims people misquote her by pointing that out because everything she does is political. She even said in a speech once, you'll end up being the type of person nobody likes and nobody wants to hang out with because all you do is claim that everything is sexist and everything is racist. And I'm like, yeah, duh, because you're a buzzkill and nobody wants to be called sexist and racist all of the time.
Right. When that has nothing to do with what they're doing.
Recently, they had this thing, it wasn't recent, but they had this thing with Seinfeld. And he has this show, and it's called Comedians in Cars or whatever, where he hangs out with some comedians, they spend time together, and they basically hang out in a car.
Right, I've seen it, yeah.
Right, they chat about stuff and whatnot. And he got some criticism for not having enough diversity on the show. There weren't enough women, or there weren't enough whatever. And they're like, well, what do you have to say about that? And he's like, I don't see the world in that way, so I don't really care. And then a bunch of people got really pissed off with him. And he's like, I invite people who are funny, and that's who ends up on the show. They're people I know and they're funny. I'm not trying to do this through the prism of I have to be politically correct and make sure everybody's included. And everybody's pissed off at him because he's like, yeah, I don't see the world in political eyes. Like, I might not agree with him in a lot of things, but that's how we should be. We shouldn't solely see the world just through politics. But that's what we are now. That's what everything is.
Chris Rock did the Oscars, right? And he turned it into a total political mess. Like, we don't care what your politics are. Did you not understand that you're the host of an awards show? You're there to give awards to people, not tell us what you would do if you were running the country.
Yeah,
if you want to do that, go into politics.
Not enough black people were nominated, and it was this big deal, and people were protesting the event and not going.
Bunch of, So anyway,
Kanye West, because I have to update everybody on Kanye West drama. He protested the Grammys. And
did they not invite him this year?
No, he said he won't go unless he wins Best Album or Best Artist or something.
What a total...
Now that sounds douchey enough, right?
Right.
Here's the best part. He wasn't nominated for Best Artist. So it's hard to win something you're not nominated for.
Right.
And so he was protesting unless he won, but he wasn't even nominated for the thing he's trying to win.
Man, that guy is such an idiot.
Begging Mark Zuckerberg for money. He says, please invest in my ideas $1 billion, despite the fact he's $53 million in debt. I hope he ends up living on the street. I hope him and that Kardashian lady can't afford pants for her giant butt.
I hate
he doesn't
people
deserve
like
the
that.
money. He doesn't
No,
deserve
he
the
doesn't.
money. He's a douchey person. He literally said, pray for us. Like I'm supposed to pray for somebody who's excessively wealthy.
Right, and
it's like, pray for you so that you stay a millionaire. I was like, screw you. Why in the world should you stay a millionaire?
Exactly.
Oh, no, what if he can't buy ridiculous things and then try and charge us $100 for a white T-shirt designed by Kanye West?
Yeah.
Did I tell you that?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He had a T-shirt that he designed that you could buy for like $120, and it was just a white T-shirt.
And it sold out.
It sold out. People are stupid.
Yes, they are.
As attributed to politics as of today.
Yeah.
People are stupid.
Yep. So anyway, video games coming out this week.
Video games, boo. Anyway, go ahead.
Let's see. So we have Alpha Beats coming out. Man, this sometimes
is it a rhythm game?
It is a rhythm game. It's a rhythm spelling game.
I'm not a rhythm game guy. There is a niche market for that stuff where people just buy any rhythm game that comes out.
To me, this seems like Scrabble trying to be cool.
Hey guys, now you can play Scrabble with your glasses on.
Yeah, basically you
Scrabble with sunglasses. It's like cool 80s guy Scrabble.
The letters drop to the beats of the music, and you try to spell words using them. So that's Alpha Beats. Blast 'em Bunnies. This looks interesting for the cartoonish look of it. It seems like it's kind of a.
What type of game is this, Jason?
It seems like a tower defense game. You have these bunnies that are trying to invade your turf. There's the boss, the blocker, the burrower, the flyer, the golden, the grenadier, the runner, the throat slitter, and the walker. And you have the carrot rifle, the watermelon pit machine gun, the turnip mortar, and the runner bean laser. And you try to destroy the bunnies as they come and try to take over.
Shooter?
No, it seems more like a tower defense.
What's it called?
It's called Blast 'em Bunnies.
There's a tower defense that they're actually making.
It's
came
coming
out of the Nintendo Direct that came out recently. It's not coming out here soon, but it actually features like Slippy and his grandpa or something. It's based on the whole Star Fox universe.
Right.
And you can buy or you can buy it and you basically play a sort of tower defense. What's interesting is you actually play it from the perspective of having like different cameras. So you watch it through these cameras as opposed to having like a perfect view over top, which makes it a bit more frantic. Reminds me of a Five Nights at Freddy's more than anything.
Well, it looks like you have a gun and the bunnies come and you shoot them as they come towards you. So
app description.
Yeah. Let's see. The Division comes out this week. A lot of people are really stoked about this one.
I don't have enough money. It's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. A virus breaks out in New York, and they seal off a portion of the city with the infected inside. This sounds kind of like a zombie thing, but there are no zombies. There's just infected. And then everything goes pear-shaped, and you have chaos, and there's this shadowy organization called the Strategic Homeland Division, and you are an agent.
Government organization. I'm already worried.
Yeah. There's also the JT something or other. Let's see, the Joint Task Force, the JTF, and so they're trying to make the situation better, and they have the division agents that are running around trying to help them out. And so you have missions and stuff, and as you progress through the missions, you slowly make New York better by completing these missions and bringing order back to New York that's in chaos.
It plays a lot like Destiny, where you level up, and it's been really, how do I put it? Compared to Destiny quite a bit.
There are a lot of things that make it similar to Destiny. Although there's a big push for PvP in this, the entire center of the map is basically called the Dark Zone, and it's the area behind the wall, and that's where you're going to get your best loot.
Well, remember, I read this thing on the game previously before it came out, where in the description it talked about how the game itself, you could team up with a group of people, go through, finish this thing, and at the very end decide, well, I want to keep that stuff, so I'm just going to kill everybody that was on my team at the very end and then take it. And we talked about how, well, at that point, you can't trust anybody, so why would you play? It's just chaos. Why would you ever team up with anybody? You would basically have to know them. You would have a bunch of loners constantly murdering one another for all of the loot.
Well, the thing is that I don't know how true that is. I had a friend that played the beta, and he said that when they were doing the Dark Zone stuff, it was really a free-for-all. So agents against agents. He and his brother played together, and I don't know if it was just the fact that he knew his brother wasn't going to shoot him in the back, and that worked for them. And so they were able to play that. But he said that literally they were in there, and there is nobody that's your friend. And so the thing is that as you go through, you pick up loot and stuff, but you can't just walk out with it. You actually have to take the loot to an extraction point and then defend it for a little bit while it gets extracted.
Yeah, which makes you quite vulnerable when it comes to...
And
yeah,
so
I remember that.
If you don't... and so if you kill someone, you're able to loot their corpse. And he said that he had a number of experiences where people were running through and... just killing people. They weren't even interested in looting the corpses. They were just doing it to kill people.
Just becomes chaos and stupid.
Yeah. So the missions sound organized and interesting, but the free-for-all part where it's just you go in there and you can slaughter everybody, and it's not so appealing. I don't care for that sort
of thing. Like I'm sure to developers it's like, oh, fun and competitive, but then it just devolves to chaos and nobody freaking cares.
Well, see, the thing is it's one thing to have like strike teams. We are a team. We go through. We get the loot together, and the success of our team depends upon the success, the cohesiveness of the unit, how well we work together, and the fact that we cooperate at all. That makes sense, and I'm not trying to kill you, but to steal all the loot we have. But yeah, it does seem that that's actually still a part, because I did read PvP today. Was it PvP? No, Penny Arcade. Penny Arcade. I
haven't read them in a while. I think they're pretty garbage, but.
And they actually referenced that they were playing the Division, and they're like, "Yeah, we've got each other's backs, right?" And then at the end, one of them killed the other one. So yeah, so that's still part of it.
Because it's all about the loot, and that's all anybody wants, and screw everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm supposed to get that.
So the next one on the list is called Jumptanks.
Never heard of it, but it sounds.
Yeah, I know.
Weird.
This is a weird one. It's supposed to be post-apocalyptic. Okay.
Sweet.
It's set on Earth. So their timeline is in 2081. 98% of the world's resources are depleted, and so everybody leaves the planet. All the rich people leave the planet. Okay,
which is what I would do.
Yeah, but for some reason, the people that are left on the planet have these giant mobile combat platforms that are
of course
jump
they do.
tanks. You can drive around in these tanks and stuff, and the thing, they call them jump tanks for a reason. They can actually jump. And the thing is that I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the visuals and stuff, and it looks like maybe an early 2000 on the graphics, early 2000s. And it doesn't look too post-apocalyptic. Everything seems pretty much...
You ever see
There's
Elysium?
a couple places that look like, you know, you could argue that they're post-apocalyptic. Like, this city looks like it's kind of swallowed by a sand dune. But there's other levels and other maps that look like this is a thriving, viable city.
You ever see Elysium?
I can't say that I have.
Matt Damon.
Oh, right. Yes, that one. I've seen that one.
That
yeah.
movie's terrible. Just
Yeah.
the worst. The premise doesn't even make any sense. Like, I realize you're trying to give off some sort of, like, political message, but it doesn't make any sense. You're literally saying, because the premise of the show is everybody's dying of diseases because all the wealthy people went and lived in this giant thing up in space.
And won't share any of the technology with the poor people who live on Earth.
Right, so they all left, and they're just, we're just all going to live in space now.
Even though their technology could totally save everybody on Earth.
Oh, yeah. They're like, screw the rest of the world.
Right.
So, they're just all living separate, and they're letting the planet sort of die.
Mm-hmm.
And now the poor people that couldn't afford to get out of there are basically just going to have to live on the planet. Now that, to a degree, makes sense in a plot way. I disagree that that's how things would play out. Chance would probably say that all the wealthy people would just be douchey and do that, but I severely doubt that's how it would play out. However,
I would say with the amount of rich people out there that feel that once they get rich, they have to practically save the planet. Yeah, I kind of...
They feel that weird obligation thing. However, here's the worst part about that movie. There's this huge, almost like universal healthcare sort of message about it, where the wealthy people have these tables that sort of magically cure everything. Disease, like cancer, AIDS, everything. They have these magical tables that basically they just have all of this high technology because it's the future and that's what they get.
Right.
And these tables only the wealthy people have in space. Now, first of all, there's enough wealthy people who think that they care when they really don't, but they think that they care, and they would do way more for the poor than they're actually doing in this show, but I guess we're going to live with the premise that they don't care. But it costs them no resources. Like, literally at the end of the movie, he has this fancy suit, Matt Damon has this fancy suit that he gets.
It's an exoskeleton type thing that
to like fight and then get onto the thing because everybody's desperate to get onto the space station where all the wealthy people live.
Right.
And he sort of takes over in some way, and they force the wealthy people to take these super magical tables that can cure all of diseases and bring them down to Earth so that all the people on Earth can be cured. It costs them no resources, none.
Nothing.
To cure and help everybody on the planet. And I guess the only way you can explain it is screw poor people. Like, it doesn't make any sense. People at least have a degree of decent... It doesn't cost them anything.
Well, see, that's one of the things.
Diseases.
It would make sense from a standpoint of, if I cure you, I can't cure him. But there's no
like
dilemma.
A one-time use, or the resources to use such a thing is just excessively expensive. But it isn't. It costs nothing for these people to do it, and they're just like, no, screw poor people, whatever. Like this, the story makes no sense. They're just like, no, we're just gonna stay in our like wealthy place in space or whatever, and screw poor people because they're poor and they're dirty and they get in our way.
Exactly. So the next one on the list is Kolot. This one actually sounds kind of interesting. So this one is actually based on a true story. It's 1956, I believe, is when the original event. No, 1959. Dyatlov Pass in Russia was the scene of this bizarre happening where 9 skilled alpinists, as it says here, they went for a trip in the Ural Mountains. They go up in the mountains. They're not heard from. They go and they go search for them. They find their tents ripped to shreds. They find like their bodies badly beaten and mauled and all this stuff, but no trace anywhere of whatever did it to them. Okay?
I actually know a lot about this story.
Go ahead. Have I left anything out?
Oh no, you're super right. They were a bunch of college students, if I recall.
Yeah.
And they were going to just go up into the mountains and hike. Thing is, this is Russia. So when it's wilderness, it's like way wilderness, and nobody's out there, and it's sadness. You know, because this is Russia.
Right, exactly.
So they went out there. Now, what happened became quite a bit more interesting. They just disappeared and nobody knew what happened. So a team went out to go find them.
Right.
And track down this crew. It's called something else, something incident or whatever.
Yeah.
I know the game's called...
the
named after
game
the
is,
mountain, if I recall.
The game is named after the mountain. It's the Kholat Syakhl Mountain.
Right.
So the name is Kholat, but this is the Dyatlov Pass Incident, is what it's called.
That's it. So they ended up finding the bodies, and they found a tent that seemed crushed. And footprints everywhere. Like they had all of a sudden gotten extremely afraid, and they all ran in different directions.
Right. But it was only their own footprints. It wasn't like other...
Like there wasn't creature, there wasn't other humans. It didn't explain anything. They just all ran in a panic in other directions. Why they could tell that they ran in a panic? Because some of them were found without actually being fully dressed or prepared to run outside in basically the horror of Russia's winter.
Right.
Now that part was interesting. Here's what gets weirder. Now they're all naked. One guy was so afraid he climbed a tree almost completely undressed in a panic to get away from whatever it was that seemed to be freaking him out. This one lady was found face first in the snow with her tongue missing.
Yeah, her tongue had been ripped out.
I know there are a few other things, but I don't recall. But it was one of the weirdest situations, and nobody could really figure out. There's been a lot of mystery surrounding it.
And it could be as simple as some sort of mass group panic. But
actually, I did some reading on it, and I actually have an answer as to what probably happened. But go ahead on the speculation, because that's the interesting part.
So anyway, this they got Sean Bean to narrate this game.
Nice.
And so now it's you're going and investigating the mystery behind
Sean Bean narrates a game about people who die.
Yeah.
Like Sean
and
Bean.
so it's a Russian game. It's set in Russia. It's they've got the artwork looks pretty well done. And it's about exploration, and it says inspired by true events, but you know, whatever.
It actually happened. The game actually, because I've seen some of the game, it actually plays out like a magical mystery thing, like demons or something, or some sort of ghost thing or something is in the.
There's some sort of supernatural reason as to why
it's in the mountains and it's freaking and causing everybody problems. Here's the thing, though. I actually have legitimate explanations. It's possible, from those who have done a lot of study on it, that it's very likely something like a avalanche occurred.
Right.
And it was enough to cause a lot of panic, because you don't want to be trapped inside the tent when the avalanche comes down on you and everybody gets buried. So they all split and ran in a panic in different directions. Now the girl that explains why the guy ran up the tree.
Right, because he's trying to get higher to get away from the snow.
Exactly. That also explains partially why the girl who landed on her face
had her tongue
missing. Because the tongue, there's a lot of mystery because they couldn't explain why the tongue was missing.
Right.
But they say that there are apparently sort of these small mites and stuff that probably ate it out, that live at the bottom layer of the snow. And
Right.
they probably just, because her face was laying in the snow, there was an area that sort of melted, and then it just got eaten out by some sort of creature.
Right.
And that makes a lot of sense to me. Not the,
and if it's a small
mystical
creature,
answer.
you might not see the footprints and tracks in the snow because it's small.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
But
So anyway,
interesting story nonetheless. Probably nothing mystical, but the mystical stuff, the speculation, is what makes it more interesting.
and if it was an avalanche, it does explain why 3 of the party were killed by fatal injuries.
Yeah, because one of them was explained to have been like excessive internal injuries, almost like being hit by a car without broken bones and that sort of thing. And I was like, well, what if an avalanche hit you? Like, that would probably explain the massive trauma that occurred to your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're like, there's no way this could have happened and nothing breached the skin. I was like, an avalanche could have hit you. But
yeah, exactly.
People like the mystical answer.
Yep.
It's more interesting.
So anyway, the next one on our list is called Shardlight. Now this one, Shardlight looks like it has, I'm thinking early to mid 1990s graphics.
Everybody's going for retro in some way or
Yeah.
another.
Well, the thing is that with the advent of tablets and stuff, you want to create
cheaper.
Yeah. You have a lot more access to a broader market for your games. And, you can't necessarily play The Division on a tablet. It just doesn't have the capabilities for it.
Someday, and then they're going to have games much more awesome than The Division, and then they're going to call The Division retro or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this is another, I don't know what it is with post-apocalyptic stuff anymore. It's
People
just
are
like
depressed lately, and they see how stuff is going. So
yeah, it's like every game coming out is going to be
in
post-apocalyptic.
some possible way or another.
This one actually sounds a lot like Elysium because you have a post-apocalyptic world. Bombs fell. There's disease, hunger, death. There's
Elysium actually is more like that. We spent all our resources post-apocalypse.
Well, no, it goes further because there's a ruling aristocratic class that controls everything. They're in charge of everything, and they have a cure. Well, they have a vaccine for this disease that's going around, but only the rich can get it. And they actually are, there's actually like a lottery that
you ever see
goes
The Village?
On. Huh?
You ever see The Village?
No.
That actually had an interesting premise because there was this. They all lived in this perfect place, and there's this lottery where they moved on, and it ended up. It's not The Village; it's something else. It had Michael Clark Duncan in it.
Huh. I'd have to look.
It was pretty good, but the premise was interesting because everybody was like super happy to move on to this like perfect world where they all had a chance to live in this fancy place, and they're all just waiting for their lottery number to come up, and then it ended up being like not a good thing.
I seem to recall that.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan is in it.
You take the role of this girl, and she works for the government, and she works for them because she is trying to qualify for the vaccine lottery. But she believes there's a cure, and your purpose in the game is to try to find this cure. When I was looking at the visuals, it reminded me a lot of a LucasArts game from the early 90s called Loom. That's what the visuals reminded me of.
Back when LucasArts was willing to be experimental and make interesting things.
Yeah. Loom was a fun game. I liked that one. Now, another one that kind of has that same kind of early 90s vibe as far as the graphics and stuff is called Moon Hunters. This one actually is kind of an interesting take on a game. It's a 4-person cooperative game. The moon disappears.
Ooh.
And you go out on a quest to find the moon
Piccolo
and return it.
With it.
What was that?
Piccolo did something with it.
Yeah, Piccolo. Yeah.
Like nobody talks about the fact that Piccolo actually blows up the moon in Dragon Ball, and it would have like wreaked havoc with the environment.
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
no
like,
tides.
It's fine. Nobody talk about it.
Yeah.
And then later, I think the moon is there, and nobody talks about that. Suddenly, it just sort of regrew.
It's just back.
Yeah, whatever is back. Piccolo didn't think ahead, killed the moon, and everybody's not asking questions anymore. Like it would have just destroyed most of mankind.
Totally.
No, it's fine.
Totally
Whatever.
destroyed
Piccolo can blow up the moon. He's just worried that Gohan's gonna turn to a monkey kid or whatever.
Yeah. So it's a co-op, and the thing that makes it interesting is that it's procedurally generated every time you play. And so every time you play, it's going to have a different feel to it. I don't know how far the procedural generation goes. I don't know if that means that the story will evolve different ways when you play it, or if you have certain fixed points.
I forgot that. I've been playing the first XCOM a bunch.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I kept forgetting. I was like, I've actually been playing quite a bit of that.
Yeah. Because
it's pretty good, and the maps are procedurally generated. So every time you play, it's actually different. So you'll never go to the same map twice.
But is the story the same?
Oh yeah, well, it plays out depending on your success and how things happen in the game.
All right.
You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
so like if you do a really good job, things play out. If you encounter some part of the game sooner rather than later, then it plays out a little bit differently, and you encounter stuff a little bit differently. So you can unlock stuff at different levels, and every map is procedurally generated, so it actually becomes quite an interesting... Don't tell me... Oh, I was worried it was going to send me really far back. But yeah, I've been playing XCOM. It's a good game. Apparently the second one's impossibly harder.
Yeah. The other thing that they tout in here is that it's also a they call it a personality test RPG. So based on your personality and the choices that you make, it changes the story. Okay, gotta roll on kind of quick here.
We're wasted time.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, so I have things to say about what we're talking about. Is that not a good thing?
No, it is good. The next one is called The Guest. Again, this is one of those. This one's kind of weird. Evidently, you're invited by a scientific congress to attend this event. You go there and they lock you in a room, and your job is to figure out why you were locked in this room and who it was that locked you in it. It's got kind of a dirty, 60s maybe or 50s, 50s I think.
Is
it kind
like
of
that
50s
one where
vibe.
They hunt people or whatever, like, oh, this is a thing, and then you show up and it's not as good as you thought it would be?
Well, it doesn't seem to be, like, it's hard to say just from looking at it and from what I've seen.
You know what I mean? Like that guy shows up to the thing, what is it, They had a couple different versions of it. One version actually had Ice-T as the guy they hunted. Ice Cube played the guy they hunted, and he was just a homeless guy, and they picked up on the street, and then they brought him out into the forest, and they hunt. The whole premise was they hunt him, and if he can escape, he'll get more money or something stupid.
I remember that.
Just a bunch of wealthy people.
It doesn't seem like that. It seems more along the lines of you might be a scientist that has some invention that nobody wants revealed to the public or something like that. And so you have to figure out what this conspiracy is behind you. The next one is called Upward's Lonely Robot. I don't know why you would play this game, other than it's a vertical puzzle platformer. You're a robot, an android, and you have to climb these towers for some reason. And you have enemies and puzzles you have to figure out. And then when you climb the tower, another one gets unlocked. You try to climb that one. And then
This is this week?
Yeah, this is this week. There's a countdown timer involved as you get further along. So it puts even more pressure for you to climb faster. I don't know. Seems kind of dumb. The next one is called Beat da Beat. Beat da Beat. This has got the pixel graphics and stuff, 8-bit kind of looking thing. It is, they call it a mashup between bullet hell and rhythm gaming, and it actually, I was watching the trailer, and it actually looks slightly interesting to me because you're flying this ship. It looks like aliens stole your girlfriend, and you got to go rescue her from them. And so you're in a ship, and you got to fight through the successive waves of enemies that come at you. They fire synced to the beat of the song that's playing as you play that particular level. It actually looks kind of interesting.
You know what they should do to extrapolate upon that concept?
Go for it.
Allow you to upload your own music. That way the
would be awesome.
difficulty changes and becomes different because the enemies react and fire and do things based upon the beat or the rhythm of the music. Almost like you get those sound wave effects.
I wonder if you could put in a slow song and it would make the levels easier.
Perhaps, but you know how you get those sound wave effects with the things that move at different... like on those old stereos where you have the little lights bumping up and down.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I don't know how hard that would be, but that would be fascinating because then you could put in whatever music you wanted to, then see how it played out for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would take a lot more programming, but maybe with the slower songs, the enemies were just harder.
Yeah, the enemies have more health. So the next one here, we have two left that we're going to go through, and the next one is Hitman. And I know Hitman's been out for a while, but what they're doing with this new Hitman is they're making it episodic. So you buy the content now, and then as more packs get released, you get that content. The intro pack includes the prologue and the Paris episode, contracts mode, escalation mode, and elusive targets, and all other live content. And then they're going to have 6 future episodes that include 5 other locations, and they're going to be released starting in April of 2016. As far as I can tell, I haven't found anything really that tells me what the story is like behind this.
Hitman third-person assassination game, or
yeah, it's a full-blown assassination. You're full-blown. Some of the trailers that I was looking at, it's third person. You're walking through. You're taking people out. It's just that we've released the first part of the game, and you don't get the rest until later.
So the first episode's this week, I guess?
Yes, the first episode's this week. The next episode comes out in April. So the last one on our list is WWE 2016.
See, I actually like wrestling games. I think they're fun.
That one we played was insane.
If I had some money, I would buy one of the more recent wrestling games, but I don't have any money, and maybe 2015 will get cheaper and me and Jason will play it or something.
But actually,
they can promo us. We'll play so many matches for 2016 if they want to give us some free copies.
Oh yeah,
2.
If they want to, we'll do it.
We'll play a season. And me and Jason will have a rivalry.
It has Macho Man in it.
They have this make a character thing in 2015 where you sort of played through as a wrestler, so you sort of make on your own, and then you play through the.
It has Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. He's gonna come out of his coffin to kill us because he's a mummy. You play through your own thing, and the whole goal is to try and get the belt, and you sort of go through tiers of fighting different people and trying to get everybody to like you, and then fighting certain matches and going to like the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? It's sort of like a career mode for wrestling, which seemed interesting as a premise. But, whatever. Hopefully they improved upon it, because there was some criticism for the career mode last time. It was good. It just was superficial.
Well, the visuals look really good on it, and that'll be coming out this week. They've actually got they've actually got a lot of the older wrestlers I mean, the Bushwhackers are in here. I haven't heard about them in years. But yeah, it's and like I said, it's got Randy Savage and Ric Flair and a lot of the favorites from years ago.
Do you have a favorite old school?
Hulk Hogan used to be my favorite. He's kind of not anymore. But back in the 80s when he was really big.
Because of the real him as opposed to the fake him.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the character Hulk Hogan. Not the person Terry Bogard or whatever his name is.
Or whatever his name is. Andre the Giant was always interesting to me. I always liked him.
Mine was a cross between Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior.
Macho Man was always interesting to watch. There's also Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper is great, but he was sort of a wild card where he's just like, I'm a drunk Irish guy or whatever.
And there was also
whatever he's supposed to be.
You know, the Gravedigger was always the bad guy.
Yeah. Early Undertaker was entertaining.
Yeah. Or not Gravedigger. I meant Undertaker.
Yeah, he would just bury people.
Yeah.
Remember that time he buried Ultimate Warrior in the coffin?
Uh-huh. I do remember that. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for the games this week. We have one more round before we get to our championship bout in our legendary battle of classic video game characters this year.
You should include, just as a suggestion for the games coming out this week.
What's that?
Their platforms.
Go ahead.
No, just the platforms they.
Oh, which platforms they're coming out on?
Yeah.
We can do that.
I don't know how much harder that would be, but.
Well, no, they usually say.
Because this is a good preview where I'm like, oh, interesting, and then I go, is that Steam or?
Oh well, yeah. I'll put those in the description, but
in the description. Yeah, but for the future, just mention it.
Yeah, I can tell you that WWE is for PS4 and Xbox One and that kind of stuff.
I assume PC as well.
Hitman was on Steam. It could have been for more, but yeah. I'll mention those in the future.
Just a side.
Yeah. So we have Ryu from Street Fighter versus Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. I want
Ryu to win.
I want Ryu to win as well, but I don't think he can.
To be fair, Ryu's fought a demon.
That's true. He might be.
Akuma.
Yeah.
Ryu also has a magic, like this weird, like intense ancient power inside of him that makes him sort of demonic, like Akuma is. And it's a power that can't be controlled or whatever.
Is that from more recent?
Oh
versions?
Yeah, in 4 he had that problem of it being inside of him.
Huh.
Ryu is crazy powerful. But when it comes to ridiculously like flashy abilities, it's not. He can defy gravity, I would say. I don't think anybody could spin in one place on a leg like he can. That's weird. Nobody could. It's almost like Xena levels of controlling physics.
Yeah. Him and Chun-Li and Ken.
Chun-Li can do some crazy things.
Yeah. And Dalsum, where he does his little spear move.
Dalsum is back in the new one.
Oh, interesting.
And he actually looks cool. He's got all these like yoga poses and stuff he does.
He was one of my favorites, just because I could hit people from across the board.
Oh well, you can definitely do that in Street Fighter V. He's an entertaining character in.
Cloud is kind of OP. He really is.
But here's the problem, though. I think. So let's talk about what can he do. All right. So let's just define his abilities, rather than simply say, "Oh, he beat Sephiroth" or whatever.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
He's
his
sort of
abilities.
lame. He's a failed soldier. I think didn't he get kicked out or leave or something?
Something. The thing is that they say he's a failed soldier, and that means he's a failed experiment. They were trying to create a Sephiroth clone, and they got Cloud instead.
Right.
And at the same time, he proved that he was superior to the one that they considered the success by defeating him.
guess, but he had friends.
That's true. He did have
didn't
friends.
Solo Sephiroth.
That's true. He didn't. And at the same time, he didn't solo Sephiroth on his own abilities.
No.
He had
summons and junk.
right. So just on his own abilities, discounting the summons, he has the ability to wield a massive sword, which means that his strength is pretty high. I mean, to swing that thing around like he does.
Wields ridiculous swords, and I think that's just like Sephiroth's sword is ridiculously long.
Oh, it is. But skinny. Anyway,
yeah, skinny and long.
Skinny and long. Still massively difficult to wield either way. Cloud does have his own abilities apart from the materia, the ones that the materia gives like him.
Omni-slash and
Omni-slash and
there was a
what the other two I forget what they are.
Wasn't it a cross-cut and there was something else?
Yeah.
Or cross-cut is Chrono Cross. I don't know, what am I thinking of? Because that's an ability you can use between Chrono and Frog. That's right. I know my
breaks. Cloud's limit breaks.
Omni-slash is the only one I know off the top of my head.
Let's see. Cloud has Braver, Cross Slash, Blade Beam, Climb Hazard, Meteor Rain, Finishing Touch, and Omni Slash. So he has abilities that give him a chance to deal massive
everybody
amounts of
kind of
damage.
does. Every character has that sort of latent, unlocked power of sorts. I don't know how to beat this level. I got stuck in there.
What I'm wondering, not that like Cloud is
right, but besides
unique.
That, is there some sort of indication that we have that he can do something superhuman? Are we counting Advent Children? Or are we talking about Final Fantasy VII itself? Like, literally, his team beat Sephiroth, and they're hit by a meteor that destroys planets multiple times, but is that canon? Because literally multiple times he destroys the solar systems. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what is canon when it comes to this scenario?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to establish. The thing is that I would say that we have we stick with the abilities that he has in Final Fantasy VII.
Right. So, is he that powerful when it comes down to it?
Well, see that's what I'm trying to debate here. Like you said, and I'm not trying to say that Cloud has more devastating abilities than Ryu. What I'm trying to say is Ryu has abilities, Cloud has abilities. Now, who has the stronger abilities?
Right. I mean, Cloud's beaten. I guess he's beaten the summons like Bahamut and a bunch of others.
Right.
Because you have to defeat them to get them, if I recall.
Right. But at the same time, you used summons to do those.
Yeah.
But at the same time, his limit breaks were some of the most powerful in the game when you got them leveled up.
How do I get that?
I've gotten that before, but I don't remember how. I think I went from the...
But I can't get underneath.
Yeah.
They're not see-through.
So, as far as that goes, I don't know how to call it. The thing is that I guess I see Ryu as being powerful.
Any word from Comic Vine or whatever?
No, I haven't posted it on Comic Vine.
Why don't we come back to this?
Okay, we can do that.
I'm sure everybody will side with Cloud, but...
Well, I don't know. This is Ryu we're talking about.
I know, he's also fairly popular, but...
Yeah, he is. So, I'll go ahead and post it on Comic Vine and see if we can get any responses on it. And we'll come and talk about it next week. Other than that, anything you would like to leave with?
I need to be the angry guy. He fits me more. This character described my life, where there's a bear sitting on my head pointing which direction to go, and one of his feet are in my eyeball. And I'm squinting because I can't see very well.
Because you can't see past his paw.
The allegory of Rhett's life.
That's an awesome avatar, by the way. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did like the one that was like disappointed looking, especially when he crossed his arms and started tapping his foot.
He looked like he was an emoji.
Yeah, like he was totally disappointed in you and it wasn't working out like he thought it would.
Angry emoji face.
Yeah. Is that...
That's it. No, that's
all right.
inspiring. I gave you an allegory about a bear on my head.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast, and we will try to get this out as soon as possible. Take it easy.
Jingle time.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Distracted Gamers podcast. If you like the show, follow Rhett and Jason, the world's two most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DG Podcast, or check them out at www.thedistractedgamers.com. If you loved or hated what you've heard here, email them at thedistractedgamers.blogspot.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason will care, since he hasn't any, of course.